So Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So in today's video we are going to discuss thalamus, which is the ovoid mass of the grey matter, and it is an important part of the diencephalon. In this previous video, if you have watched, then you know each and everything about it. Now we will move toward the thalamus, which is an important area, and it takes the information from all the regions of your body except for the olfactory pathway, and it provides the information to the cerebellar or the cerebral cortex. And if there is any damage to the thalamus, it will call loss of the cerebral function as well, because it's a connection, and when the connection is lost, no fibers can move from here to there. So this is your thalamus, and inferior to that you have the tegmentum portion of your midbrain, and between the thalamus there is the third ventricle between the two thalami. So these are the two thalami, and between them this is running the third ventricle. And on both these sides, or superior to the thalamus, we have the fornix. So look at this diagram. These structures are thalamus, and on the medial side of the thalamus we have the third ventricle. Then superior to the thalamus we have the fornix, which is running. Then lateral to the thalamus we have the lentiform nucleus, and between the thalamus and the lentiform nucleus we have the white matter, which has a posterior limb, an anterior limb, and the genu in between. And inferior to the thalamus we have the midbrain and the tectum portion of the midbrain. And just superior to the thalamus we have the we also have the tila cordia as well as the choroid plexus, which are the folds of the pia mater. These folds are between the fornix and the thalamus. These are the folds of pia mater, and they are forming the tila cordia as well as the choroid plexus. You can see over here. So on the so if this is the thalamus, so the supromedial surface of the thalamus has the body of fornix, whereas the supralateral surface of the thalamus has the tila cordia as well as the choroid plexus, which are the folds of the pia mater. And just medial to the thalamus we have the third ventricle, and just lateral to it we had the white matter, which is going to separate it from the lentiform nucleus. So as you know, the thalamus is like this, and it has third ventricle in between. So you can also show that the thalamus is located on each side of the third ventricle. The anterior end of the thalamus is narrow and rounded, and it is limited by interventricular foramen. And the posterior end is going to have an expanded portion known as the pulvinar. Let me show you that to you. So let's make our thalamus. So this is the thalamus, that is our grey matter region. It is going to have this internal medullary lamina like this. This medullary lamina divides it into an anterior portion, a posterior portion, a medial portion, and a lateral portion. So anterior portion is going to have this anterior nucleus. The posterior portion, the medial portion is going to have the medial large nucleus, and on a little bit towards here it is going to have the median nucleus. So median as well as medial nucleus. Similarly, we have the lateral surface. But just here we have this great portion which is known as the pulvinar. And there are two swellings on the pulvinar which are known as, one is towards the medial side, so it is known as the medial geniculate body. Second one is on the lateral side, so it is known as the lateral geniculate body. Now there are two more openings. These are the lateral dorsal and the lateral posterior nuclei. Similarly, we are going to divide them into each of this region into three regions, like 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Similarly, 1, 2, 3. So this is going to be ventro-anterior. This is going to be the ventrolateral. This is going to be ventro-intermediate, is going to be ventroposteromedial, and we'll make this as one, that is going to be ventroposterolateral. So ventroanterior, this is the ventroanterior, then this is the ventrolateral, this is the ventrointermediate, this is the ventroposteromedial, and this whole region is ventroposterolateral. And these ventrointermediate, ventroposteromedial and ventroposterolateral together they make the ventroposterior nucleus. So this is how the thalamus is separated, and this middle region is known as internal medullary region of the thalamus. So I told you it had an anterior portion, then it had a posterior portion known as pulvinar, and on the pulvinar we had the lateral geniculate body and the medial geniculate body, as you can see, the lateral and medial geniculate body. And superior surface is covered by, on the superior medial side, I told you there was body of the fornix, whereas on the superior lateral side we had the tila cordae as well. Now the inferior surface is continuous with the tegmentum of the midbrain, as I showed you that just below the thalamus we had our midbrain. Then on the medial side we had the lateral wall of third ventricle. Rewind the video and you can see each and everything explained. Then between the thalamus, between these two thalamus, we have the interthalamic connection like this, or it is also known as interthalamic adhesion. Now the lateral surface of the thalamus is separated. Thalamus had this lentiform nucleus, and the lateral surface of the thalamus is separated from this lentiform nucleus by a white matter, which is known as the internal capsule. That is also explained in the previous portion of my video. Now the subdivisions of the thalamus, how it is divided into various nuclei, I have explained that to you. By the internal medullary lamina, we divide it into anterior, medial and lateral portion. Anterior has no division, medial has division, which are medial and median. Lateral goes to form this posterior lateral portion, the pulvinar, then lateral dorsal and lateral posterior. Similarly, ventroanterior, ventrolateral, ventrointermediate, ventroposteromedial and ventroposterolateral nuclei. Major function of the thalamus is integration. It integrates all the information that is coming except from the olfactory cortex, and this integration of the visceral and the somatic function allows the thalamus to coordinate the functions with the cerebral cortex, producing a complex series of functions. So now if this is your thalamus and this is your midbrain with its superior and inferior colliculus, and this is your pons, etc. So the region between the thalamus and the upper portion of the midbrain, this region, it is going to be known as subthalamus because it is below the thalamus. There are very important nuclei. One is known as retinucleus, and when we studied this midbrain, we know that the midbrain had this substantia nigra. So substantia nigra also continues in the subthalamus, as well as there are certain nuclei which are known as the medial lemniscus, the trigeminal lemniscus and the spinal lemniscus. All of these lemnisci, they also pass through the subthalamus. So you know that the connection between the spinal cord and your all the tracts and the cerebral cortex was the thalamus. Now the connection between the thalamus and the spinal cord is the subthalamus. So it is very important as well because it is going to relay the ascending as well as the descending tracts. So now if you look clearly at this diagram, this is thalamus, and just below the thalamus, this is the subthalamus, and just below this we will have the midbrain. Now these are the internal nuclei of the cerebral cortex. So the subthalamus has connections with these internal nuclei, and one portion of these internal nuclei is known as the corpus striatum. So the subthalamic nuclei also has connections with the corpus striatum. Also, it constitutes the red nuclei and the substantia nigra, and it has medial, spinal, and trigeminal that are passing through it. So we are done with thalamus as well as subthalamus. In the next video, we are going to read about epithalamus, etc.